morning you guys, it's Karen and I'm here to do my Tretinoin update and my skincare routine. I need to do it in the inverted commas because it's not really a routine, it is a bit haphazard. I've been asked for a skincare update several times and I've been a bit hesitant to do one because I've sort of gone back to my own way of doing my skincare. And what I mean by that is I have been trying over the last, I don't know, year or so to stick to a routine, to tell you guys this is my routine and to stick to it so that I was normal, I guess, because most people have a specific routine and a few products that they use, and so that I could specifically test things for you. But there were so many things I saw that I wanted to use, and I know that it's a way of doing skincare that many people don't agree with. I know back when I first started, I would do my skincare routine and I would be told, oh, you're using too many products, etc, etc. But this is what I'm doing now. I have added in some more retinoids, some more retinols. I'm going to talk you through the things that I've added in. But what I tend to do is see how my skin's feeling, see if it's irritated, see if it's dry, and put something on accordingly. And what I don't mind, and I think most people would detest, is that I've got a big bag. In fact, let me show you. This is my skincare bag. It's called a Danielle Weekender, and in that I've got all of my kind of cleansers and I've got all of my skincare, and I've got little different bags in there. I've got one that's for my morning skincare, one that's for my evening, one that's for my self-tanning stuff, a mirror, you know, I've got everything in here, and there's a lot of skincare in here, and that's what I don't mind, because it's almost like going shopping every day. You know, I've got so many products that I'm like, right, okay, what do I feel like using tonight? What does my skin feel like it needs? And like I said, I may get criticism for that, but I enjoy that way of doing it, and I feel that my skin has benefited. I feel that in the last month my skin feels so much better, and yet I'm using more retinoid products than I was before that. So what I'm going to do is tell you the products that are important to me, or the products that are essential in my skincare. And what I mean by that is the type of product. So a vitamin C, a retinoid, etc. The things that are a bonus, and then I'll give you an example of what my routine would be on any given day. So it's essential to me that I have retinoids and retinols in my skincare. And I, like I said, decided to add some more in because I want to spread my bets, is the only way I can think about saying it. And what I mean by that is retinoids, tretinoin, retinol, they're all so unstable that you don't know how well they've been manufactured, how well the formula is going to work regarding penetration, how well it's been stored, how well it's been transported. And then in the case of things like the gram-active retinoid from the Ordinary, you don't know if it even works because there is no evidence, but it's looking promising. So to use different products from different companies in different formulations, to me makes sense, because it's more likely that one of them will work. Now, the only downside to that is, there's a couple of downsides. The downside is that you're not getting a concentration of any one product that may work. You're getting a combination of many products and you won't know which one has worked. So it means when I do my Tretinoin updates for you, you will have to allow for the fact that I am using other products that contain retinol and retinoid, and it could well be them. But like I said, in order to do a proper study of Tretinoin and see if that was working, you know, the retinoids that I'm using, I'd need to really use it for 6 months to a year and not use anything else that could possibly have a benefit on anti-aging. And that's just not what I want to do. Firstly, I really do want to use other things, because that would solely be for YouTube. But the other thing is, you would never then see anything else skincare wise. I would never be able to talk about anything else. And I'm really interested in skincare at the moment. So there are some downsides, but there are also some upsides. The other downside is that, so these are 3 of the retinoids that I'm using with the Tretinoin. If I was using, say, the Tretinoin 4 times a week and it ran out in 2 months, say, it would last a lot longer than that, but say that's what happened, then at the end of the 2 months, the Tretinoin I was using would be 2 months old. So the longer you have it, the more it would degrade. And so the same will apply with these. If this lasted 2 months, then at the 2 month stage, it would be 2 months old, and that amount of degradation would have occurred. But because I'm using all 4 of them, they're probably going to last me 8 months, say, And so they will be more degraded, all of them, by the time I finish using them, if that makes any sense. So that's another downside. But like I said, for me, there are more upsides at the moment to doing it this way. Vitamin C is also on my essential list, and I'm using the vitamin C 30% in silicone from the Ordinary, and I'm also using their ascorbic acid. I sometimes add that into my resveratrol and ferulic acid. Number 3 on my list of essentials is SPF. An SPF is essential. So I want to have retinoids, I want to have vitamin C, and I want to have an SPF. SPFs are something I need to do some more videos on, I think, and I need to do some more research on. And I still, well, have I found the perfect product? I really like my Mountain Sun, which is a mineral sunscreen, and I really like the SkinCeuticals Sheer Defense, which is a mineral sunscreen. I'm currently using one, where is my bag? Oh, here it is, called Altruist. That was recommended, and I do like it, but it wouldn't be a repurchase for me. But I've got a whole nother tube because it came in a packet of 2, and it's an SPF 50. Number 4 on my list is niacin, and niacin is something that I feel like is essential to strengthen the skin barrier, even though I might not necessarily see results from it that are tangible. You know, I may not say, oh, my skin feels wonderful, but I know that it's doing good for my skin and it's strengthening my skin. So I am using up this at the moment, which is the Freederm. This has 5% of niacin in it. This is actually an acne treatment. And I also have, but I don't know where it is, the Paula's Choice Niacinamide. It's probably in my skincare drawer, actually. Fifth on my list is an acid of some kind, which I'm surprised is an essential in my skincare because it never used to be. But I used to use salicylic acid and, well, just salicylic acid in different forms. I tried it in a lotion, in a liquid, in a gel, and I just could never get on with it. And I had oily skin, so it was the one recommended for me. But now I like to have glycolic acid. I have used what was in this bottle, the Neutrogena, which had lactic acid in it, funny enough, but this in here is the Ordinary Glycolic Acid. I like that this has a flip top, it's just easier to use. So I like the glycolic acid and I like the lactic acid, and these 2 are essential for me to have in my routine. The glycolic acid I use more as a pH balancer, so on a cotton wool pad over my face, and lactic acid I would then apply to get rid of any sort of dry flaky skin, and it works wonderfully. And this, for me, this lactic acid works better than anything else I've used. It's certainly an manual exfoliation. The final thing on my list that is essential is moisturizer or hydration, and that can come in so many different forms. So it could be my natural moisturising factor. I could just need that, or it could be that I use my Superdrug Vitamin E oil that you've seen me talking about before, and then the natural moisturising factors, or it could be that I use something like this Egyptian Magic, which is when my skin really needs it. And I haven't needed to use this for a while, actually, which shows you how much better condition my skin is in, I think. And then there's the extra hydration things like this. This is the Peter Thomas Roth sodium hyaluronate, and of course I've got the Ordinary hyaluronic acid and B5. So many different options for increasing hydration. So those are the essentials: retinoids, vitamin C, SPF, hydration, niacin and acids. On my bonus list are resveratrol and ferulic acid. I enjoy the feel of resveratrol and ferulic acid, but it's not an essential, it's just a bonus. Vitamin E is something that I like to have in my routine because I like the vitamin E oil, not specifically the vitamin E ingredient. There just happens to be some vitamin E products I enjoy. Same with panthenol. It's not an essential ingredient, but I do like the Cicaplast balm with B5 in it, which is panthenol, and there are some other products that I enjoy with B5 or panthenol in it. And finally, peptides. You can probably see there's nothing in my routine that has peptides in it. There's a serum here that this is just a bonus. This is the Paula's Choice Resist Antioxidant Serum with vitamin C. It's a vitamin C derivative. And I just really enjoy the feel of this. And this isn't an essential part of my routine, it's just a bonus. But I don't think this has peptides in it. So there's no peptides in here, but I would be happy to include peptides in my routine if I found a good product with them in it. I may at some point order the Matrixyl or the Buffet or something from the Ordinary and see if I've got room for it, because I've got quite a lot going on here. The final thing on my bonus list is alpha lipoic acid, which I have just bought a new bottle of alpha lipoic acid and literally just introduced it into my routine last night to see how my skin coped. My face feels lovely. This is what happened to me before with the alpha lipoic acid. My face feels beautiful. I did end up getting dry patches on my cheeks here, but I haven't got any from it this time. But my neck I noticed was a little red this morning. It doesn't seem to be anymore. It'll be interesting to see if it shows on screen. But the only reason I didn't continue using alpha lipoic acid is because I bought so many things. I was trying to minimize then what I was using, and I just didn't fit that into my routine, and it ended up going off. It's separated. So I've just ordered a new bottle, and I will be using that on one night a week, and then Tretinoin on one night a week. Those are the items that are in my bag. So let me give you an example of how I would use them in a routine. So I still remove my makeup in pretty much the same way, which is sometimes in the shower with one of many different face washes, or usually a cleansing oil. I would use a cleansing oil to get most of my makeup off, and then I would use a face wash with I've got a little Body Shop very soft brush that I use with the face wash, or I would use my Garnier 2-in-1 makeup remover. Then I would go over with micellar water. I'm still getting questions about or comments about you should rinse micellar water off, but micellar water is not meant to be rinsed off, but it's a personal choice, and I've done a whole video on, in fact I think I called it "Should you rinse micellar water off?" So I use my micellar water, and that is my general routine to take my makeup off. And then in the morning I literally just use micellar water. In the morning I would then use my resveratrol and ferulic acid, and I would either use a little bit of vitamin C with it from The Ordinary, or I would use their ascorbic acid powder also from The Ordinary and put a scoop of that in with the resveratrol and ferulic acid. On top of that I will use an SPF. That's the morning done. The evening, take my makeup off, do my micellar water. My routine would then be depending on how my skin felt. So, or what night it was, because I am using Tretinoin, the Retinoids that's in the fridge, once a week on a Saturday night. And I've decided to use the alpha lipoic acid once a week on a Wednesday night. I want it to be far away from the Saturday night because they're both irritating ingredients until I see how my skin is. But apart from that, it's going to be a case of seeing what my skin wants. Regarding self-tan, by the way, I've been trying to use self-tanner in the day on the days where I'm not wearing makeup. It just means then I don't need to miss out on my evening skincare. Sometimes I do forget, and if I forget, then I would just scrap any skincare and just use a self-tanner. I'm also asked a lot about how to mix self-tanner with tretinoin acids, all of these kind of things. And to be honest, I don't think I'm the one to answer that question, because more often than not, you see me with white lines on my neck. So clearly I haven't yet got the balance right. I don't even know if there is a balance. I don't know if you can use self-tanner with these things without having, you know, patchiness. But if I find a way, I'll let you know. It's a Saturday night, I would use my micellar water, and I would then go straight in with my Retinoids, my Tretinoin. I'd go and get it from the fridge, put some over my face, put it back in the fridge. I then used to wait a little bit before putting anything else on, but I don't now wait. I go straight in. I usually use an oil of some kind, so it would probably be like the vitamin E oil. And then I would use something like the natural moisturising factors on top. And I try to just really baby my skin on the night that I'm putting Tretinoin on it, so that the reaction a few days later isn't quite so bad in terms of dry skin. I don't get any irritation from the Tretinoin, and I never have. So that would be the Tretinoin night. Then there's the alpha lipoic acid night. I would make sure I didn't use anything else, such as I wouldn't use any other acids. I wouldn't use anything else with Tretinoin in it, with retinoids in it, with retinol in it. So last night I used this straight after using my micellar water, and then what did I use afterwards? I used my rosehip oil. So I used this and rosehip oil, and that was it. Oh, I should say I am still using Neo Cutis Balm every day. I'm hoping that this will run out. This is just an eye cream. I'm hoping it will run out soon so I can do an update. That's the Saturday and the Wednesday. In between that, it's a case of seeing how my skin feels. So if my skin was feeling a little bit flaky, which it has barely been like that in the last month, which is why I do feel that I'm doing the right thing for my skin. But if it was feeling flaky, I would use my glycolic acid to pH balance my skin. I would then apply the lactic acid. And I know that, like I said, some people will disagree with some or all of what I'm doing. But I would put the lactic acid then on my skin, and that seems to work for me to get rid of the flaky skin. So I would leave that probably for 10 minutes. And then I would follow that with something really kind of rich and emollient. Something like this would be good, the Paula's Choice Antioxidant Concentrate Serum. It's got vitamin C in it, but it's a vitamin C derivative, so I don't mind that I'm mixing it with acids. It's nice and moisturising. It feels a little bit oily, so I would use that and probably seal it in with the natural moisturising factors. Or I would use something like my Egyptian Magic straight after using the lactic acid. Just like I said, I normally wait about 10 minutes, but use something like this to really, really give it a good boost of hydration. And then if I didn't have dry skin, it wasn't an alpha lipoic or a tretinoin night, then I would use one of these retinol items. So either I've got the retinol 0.2% from the Ordinary. The only reason this is in my routine is because I have it and I want to use it up. I like the ingredients in it. It's a very low strength retinol, but I'm happy to have it in my routine. It's in squalane, so it also gives me some hydration. Then I've got the HPR, the hydroxypinaclone retinoid, so the gram-active retinoid. This one is not proven, as you know, but that doesn't prevent me from thinking it may be a good idea to have it in your routine, because we might find out that it really is this wonderful product that everybody thinks it is. And it's something that when I used this, I didn't get an ounce of dryness, irritation, nothing. It worked really well for me. In fact, the opposite, my skin felt lovely. So I'm really happy to have this in my routine. But what you need to remember is this is the 2% emulsion. So this is not in squalane. This one is the emulsion, and it has retinol in it. So the squalane ones do not have retinol, but the emulsion has a very small amount, I think it's 0.1% of retinol, and it's encapsulated. So this is probably the mildest of all of the retinoid products that I'm using. And then I've got the La Roche-Posay Redermic R, which again I think only has about 0.1% in it. This is something that I've used many times in the past, and it didn't ever make my skin dry or peeling or irritated. It just was never a problem I had when I was using this. I had problems with oily skin. I would have been delighted at the time to have dry skin, and it just never happened. And I didn't have irritated skin. I had breakouts on my chin when I used this. I don't mean that caused by this. I had hormonal acne at the time. So I would use whichever one of these I fancied. I might use the La Roche-Posay. And actually, when you use this Redermic R, you could get away with just using this. It doesn't make your skin feel tight. Your skin feels really moisturised, and you could almost forget that you might need to put another moisturiser on top. But I do tend to put something else on top. I might take the opportunity to put something like sodium hyaluronate on top and then seal it in with the natural moisturising factors. I might put vitamin E oil on my skin if my skin's feeling really dry. What else is there? I might put this serum on top because again, it's got vitamin C in it, but it's a derivative, so it's fine. So that's what I would do with that. If I was using the HPR, pretty much the same thing actually. And then if I was using the retinol, I would probably just use this and then some moisturiser on top. I suppose the only thing I've not mentioned is the niacin, and that's probably the hardest to get into my routine. I'm never really sure when to put it on. And I try to not use niacin with vitamin C. I'll tell you which products I try to not mix, but I try to not mix niacin with ascorbic acid vitamin C anyway, so I don't use it in the morning. I would tend to use it, let me think, would I use it before I would use it perhaps before the HPR. I'm happy to use it with retinol. I would use it maybe before this, immediately after cleansing, and then maybe put that on. I would use it before this as well. And the niacinamide from Paula's Choice is one that you can add to things, so I might well add it to my vitamin E oil or something like that. That covers all the products that I've got here. So that's an idea of how my skincare routine is at the moment. And I actually took some pictures of my skin without makeup on, and I think I might have even, oh no, I did a video but I lost it, so I'll try and do a video again when I take my makeup off. But like I said, my skin feels the best it has felt for a long time in this last month, since adding in these little different things. And yes, I might think, well, I don't know which one of these it is, but it would be fairly easy to find out because I could stop using them all and then just use one of them and see if my skin still felt good, and if it wasn't that, introduce something else. And you know, there's ways of finding out, but like I said, I like to have this many products and then go, what am I going to use tonight? And it's like I've got my own little shop here. Okay, more on the actual tretinoin update. So I've been using the Retinoids 0.025%. It has lasted. I've been using it once a week on a Saturday night for the last 4 weeks. That's me been using that for 4 months now. I think I've got another month's worth left, maybe even 2 weeks. And then I will move up to the 0.05% and I will use that once a week on a Saturday night. So it's going to be really interesting to me to see what happens when I use that, when I increase that whilst using these other products. My retinoid update videos and even skincare routines get so many comments, and it makes me, I think I said at the beginning, hesitant to do videos simply because there's so many varying comments. Like literally on the tretinoin, some people think I should increase the strength I'm using. Some people think I should stick to the one I'm using. Some people think I should use it more often. Some people less often. Some people say I'm using too much. Other people say use it. There's so many different opposing advices. And I was actually just listening to Lisa D1 say something like this, and I thought, goodness, she said it so well. I don't know how to say it without it sounding rude. I really appreciate all of the comments and all of people trying to give me guidance, but I'm sharing my routine with you, and I'm not somebody that takes guidance or advice even from professionals. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. That's just who I am. But if I was going to take advice, it would be from a professional, or it would be from people that know me, family and friends. You know, it wouldn't be from people that are leaving a comment that I don't know. And especially it just wouldn't work anyway, because whose advice would I take? Because like I said, there's so many varying comments and advice. But this isn't me looking, you know, in doing this routine, this isn't me saying this is how you should do it. And this isn't me looking for advice. This is me simply sharing what I'm doing and what's working for me. And maybe this gives you an idea of something you could take away from this. Or maybe it's just interesting. Maybe it's just car crash TV. Who knows? Maybe it's just amusing to see how many products I'm using. I don't mind what you get from it, but I am pretty stubborn. And you know what? Most of the time it works for me because, you know, GPs have told me that I should really be thinking about a wheelchair and at least be using my walking stick. And I sort of fight against that. And like I said, that works for me. You know, so many people told me not to start a grooming business because my joints couldn't cope with it. Well, in a way they were right, because my joints couldn't cope with it and I had to close down the business. But as a result, I am a qualified groomer. I'm an experienced groomer. I have some lovely memories of times I spent with dogs. I had a successful business, however short amount of time it was successful. I made lots of friends from it. I can groom my own dog. I don't need to pay for anybody else to do it, and I don't need to send him anywhere and worry about him. And I've created an online grooming course, and that's going really well. So I'm glad that most of the time I don't listen to other people. You know, I think that a lot of times it benefits me. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it doesn't. And so I suppose what I'm saying to you is, it's not you, it's me. You know, you might be giving me great advice. I'm sure that the many comments telling me, you're using too much, you only need to use a pea-sized amount. I'm sure you're right. And I'm sure that it's not a good thing that I use too much. But I've used too much of hair care, skincare, probably makeup, everything all my life. It's what I enjoy. As long as I can do it and I don't see a detrimental effect to it, then it's what I'm going to continue doing because it's what I enjoy, if that makes sense. And like I said, it's not to say that your advice is wrong and that what I'm doing is right. I'm just doing what suits me. Wow, I've got on a bit of a soapbox there, didn't I? Okay, back to the retinoid update. So I've been using it 4 months. I can tell you that I haven't seen any benefits from it. So bearing in mind, I said that over the last month, my skin has felt better than it has in a long time. What I mean by that is it feels like it's back to how it was before I started the tretinoin cream, because I didn't feel like my skin, like the texture of my skin was okay. The issues I would say I had and have are pores, crow's feet, hooded eyes, and a little bit of texture problem on my neck. And none of those have gone away. None of those have faded. But my skin in general well, actually my pores are better, but I think that's from the vitamin C. But my skin in general feels and I think looks okay. And feels and looks a lot better in the last month. It could be that the tretinoin is starting to work, but I wouldn't expect to really be saying to you, it's a miracle, I can see the difference in my skin, until at least the 6-month mark. So we've got another 2 months really before I can say, yeah, I think it's starting to work. So I see no difference, but I barely get any dry skin now from it. I don't get any irritation from it at all, even on my neck. I've been tempted to use it on my neck more than once a week because my neck doesn't seem to react to it, but I'm not going to. I am going to stick to just using it once a week, and we're going up to the 0.05% soon, so we'll see what happens then. And especially now I've introduced this alpha lipoic acid, which I'm going to talk about that in a separate video. I don't want to add anything else irritating, because that is more irritating to me than the tretinoin cream actually. So no improvements, but no longer any real dryness. My skin is drier than it was. It's not oily anymore. It's more normal, I would say. And I sometimes get a bit of oil in my T-zone, and sometimes it feels a bit dry, and I can easily counteract that. It doesn't last for days. My foundation seems to be sitting a lot nicer on my skin. So I'm happy with where I'm at the moment. The only thing will be with my next update, you know, my 5-month update or 6-month update, whenever I do an update, will be that if I do start seeing amazing results, it could well be from one of the other things I'm using, one of the other retinols that I've introduced. But I'm okay with that, and hopefully you are. You know, I'll always tell you that in the video and say, well, I've been using this and it could be this. It just means that it would be harder for you to duplicate. But as I said at the beginning, I don't think really there'd be many people would be interested in using this many products. Like, I can tell you, if I told my best friend what I used, she'd just be like, what the F is wrong with you? You know, she would be like, I think she uses a cleanser and a moisturiser. And I understand that I am the odd one out, and I think that's okay. But anyway, that's everything to tell you. That's my tretinoin update. That's what's going on with my skincare. Take it as you will. I'd love to know what you think. I don't mind getting feedback, and I don't mind getting advice. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't bother me you giving me advice. It's just, don't be offended if I don't take it, because I am who I am. And if I was going to change that, like I said, it would be advice from a professional that I would listen to, or family and friends. But even they find it difficult. You know, I know my husband finds me quite stubborn in that area. Particularly when I don't take medical advice, I think he struggles. But I'd love to know your opinions, but please be respectful. I'm getting less and less tolerant of people being rude, and I think it's a great thing about YouTube actually. I think it's made me grow as a person and grow stronger, that I used to read every single comment, but I've now got the knack of sort of skimming over, and if you can see any negativity, or just deleting it. It's just not of interest to me, and I know most people agree with that. Most people agree, just don't give any time to negativity. But I do. It doesn't mean I don't accept any criticism, but it can be said in a certain way. You know, it doesn't need to be rude. It can just be an opinion. So that's everything. I will love you and leave you. I've got a day of shopping ahead. If I can get I'm going to try and put my Ugg boot on, because I've still got this toe problem going on. So I'm going to see if I can get my Ugg boot on and go off and do some shopping. So thank you so much for listening today. I will link as many products as I can. Once my hand starts hurting, I'll leave it because there's a whole bunch of products here, and I'm pretty sure you don't want me to link every single thing, but I'll link all of my favorites, the things that I'm really enjoying, and the ones that I've sort of talked about. So I hope to do an update for you soon on this. That's everything. I'll list all my makeup as well in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.